Okay, here we go with another quick, useful tip to help you out with Photoshop and stock photography. On this one here, we are going to look at fixing poor isolation. This isn't much of a stock picture, but it is a good example of poor isolation. I am going to duplicate the background layer, and then I am going to go up to my channels palette. I am going to go through each one of these individually and find out which one has the best contrast from the subject to the background. In this situation, it looks like it's going to be green. So I'm going to grab the green down to the duplicate the layer icon, and then with that green copy selected, I am going to click Control L, bring up my levels panel, and I am going to slide my whites over a bit, then slide the blacks over a bit, trying to get that isolation there. You can see just increasing the contrast here. Alright, you're going to have a couple issues here right along that edge there and right along this edge here, but overall the isolation came out really good. We're going to click OK. I mean, we can try and see if going this way with it will improve, and actually I guess it does, so it's a good thing to run a few different scenarios. I think that's going to be our best bet. We're going to click close on that. We're going to click B to bring up the brush tool, and then zoom in a bit here, increase the brush size, and X. I am also going to take my brush and get it up to a harder edge brush, so I'm not worried about spilling over the edge of my isolation that I've just created. And I'm going to fill in all the inside spots here. I'm not going to go nuts with getting too close to the edge because I don't want to spoil the selection area. And there you go, stay off of the hair because the hair is one of the harder things to get a good isolation on. There we go. And let's see, back out a little bit here, see if there's anything else. Oh, that looks good. Let's get in real tight here and fix up the ear. Okay, with that done, we are going to click back on the RGB channel and go back to our layers. Now we are going to come up to Select, Load Selection, and Layer 1 Transparency is not what we want. Green Copy is what we want. That's what we just made. Now over to the Create a New Adjustment Layer icon and go up to Curves. Click on Curves, and that will automatically make a mask based on that selection that we had just had active. And we are going to pull our curves nice and high here, and nice and high to increase the okay. So now we're almost there already. We have a little bit of the corner here which is still holding out on us. The rest of it is pretty good. So real quick, I'm going to come over here, create a new layer, get my brush active, and just a big old brush. I'm going to paint a splotch of white there to see how close we are. You can see we're actually not as close as I thought we were. You can see the difference between the white there and the grayish there. So what I am going to do with that is cancel that out and duplicate this adjustment layer. And that should get us closer to what we wanted. Yeah, so now we're there. Now the one thing we need to do is come up here with this. With that mask selected, we are going to alt click on the mask to show just the mask and zoom in here. And here's one of my favorite things about CS3 that they changed in CS4. I was so used to pushing R to bring up the blur tool, and now CS4 it's changed over to rotating the canvas tool. Alright, now we're with the blur tool. Just ever so gently come along this edge just to take the jaggedness off of it. You don't want to do a massive amount of blurring here because then it'll start to distort your lines. You just want to take that hard edge off. And what this does is gives you a nice believable isolation as opposed to looking like you did it with a pair of scissors. Alright, you're going to come along the entire edge and just hit that subtly. The blur tool stacks upon itself as you brush too. You can see we're at 50% up here with the blur tool, but it continues to stack upon itself, whereas if you changed your regular brush tool to 50%, as long as you didn't let go of the mouse, it wouldn't stack upon itself. It would just continue to paint at 50%. However, with the blur tool, if you continue to go over an area, it will continue to stack up on itself. So keep that in mind, because you don't want to go nuts on blurring here. The nice thing is that since you shot it on a white background, there's not going to be as much of a harsh transition. If you were trying to do an isolation like this and going from a colored background and trying to isolate on white, your success ratio isn't going to be as well as it is since you're already shooting on a white background. I believe we're coming around to finishing up here. And obviously take as much time as needed, and you're also in some situations going to need to clean up the mask. Right here we could do that by clicking the B button to bring up my brush, reduce it a little bit, and just clean up these little areas inside here that didn't get picked up. Alright, now let's alt click on that mask again, and there we are. The only thing that seems like Sean here has gotten lighter, but I guess he didn't. No, he didn't. Alright, there you go. That's it. It's pretty simple in this particular situation to go ahead and enhance your isolation, and this is key in putting up pictures for stock photography. Clean isolation, having straight 250 white all around these edges here that are supposed to be straight white, blown out white. Even the slightest bit of gray is going to show up if it's tried to put on print. That's it.